need. The first one is the summary, the second one is the limitation, and then finally is the recommendation. So three things, only three things only in the conclusion, which is chapter 5. All right, so let's go through the three things here: summary, limitations, and recommendation. Okay, so the first subsection under chapter 5 conclusion is summary. So what you need is you need to restate the aim of the study and the method you use to achieve that. For example, the aim of the present research was to examine question 1, research question 1 and research question 2. Survey questionnaire was used to find out. Okay, so can you see the present study, okay, what it uses, okay? In response, it uses a survey questionnaire, okay, to actually examine two main purposes: to examine the relationship and to investigate the impacts. So this is how you should start off your summary too. Restate the aim of the study and the method you have used to actually answer the two research questions, okay? The next one is you write a short summary of your discussion, a short paragraph on what you have found out and answer your research questions. Okay, so no more numbers, just sentence. Okay, so if you have two research questions, the first research question in one paragraph, second research question in the second paragraph. Okay, so it should look like this. Okay, first of all, restate the aim and the two research questions that you need to answer. And then after that, you actually answer the first research question, summarize and answer the first research question. Then you summarize and answer the second research question. So this is the first part of your chapter 5 conclusion, which is the summary. Okay, you present an overview, okay, by stating what method you have used to answer your research question and what is your aim for this research, and then followed by a summarized version of the findings for research 1, question 1 and research question 2. Okay. Okay, next what you need to do is you need to state the limitations. Okay, like what it says, limitations means what are your shortcomings, what are your disadvantages, what are your drawbacks, what are your weaknesses of your research paper. Okay, so for example, what are some of the difficulties you face during this research? For example, could not give questionnaire face-to-face, hard to gather participants, MCO, or not all participants responded, or it was not possible to assess X, therefore it's unknown. Okay, small sample size, or the study is limited by lack of information. It can be solved using interview. Okay, so what are the drawbacks, shortcomings, disadvantages, weaknesses of your research? You put it in this section. So it will look something like this. There are still some deficiencies. So for example, insufficient number of participants. Okay, next, all the students participated this study was Sunway College and Sunway University only. Okay, so that means the data collected were all coming from just one university. Okay, while not taking account into other universities, so therefore it might cause the findings to be unreliable. And also next is there were no in-depth interviews or discussion. Okay, so collection was only a survey, and it may result in false data as the answers were self-reported, meaning to say the participants answer themselves. So you don't know whether they answer everything properly or they didn't answer everything properly. We don't know that. Okay. So this is the limitation. So the first one is summary, second is limitation. The third one and the final subsection is recommendation. Okay, so what are some of your suggestions for future research? If they want to conduct a research in your topic, on your topic, what are some of the suggestions and recommendations you can propose to these future researchers? Okay, for example, talk about what can they do about the problems that you have listed earlier in your limitations. Okay, maybe you can recommend them to use mixed method, to have bigger sample size, to expand age. Okay, so what other areas that they should focus on? Okay, for example, it should focus more on gender, or it must focus on more universities so that it's more reliable, so on and so forth. Okay, so basically the recommendations will look like this. Okay, encourages more future researchers should correct this limitation, okay, by expanding total sample size, collecting data from multiple places, carrying in-depth interviews, and ensure reliability and accuracy of the findings. Other than that, must also focus on different age group, okay? Must also be must also look into high schoolers because they are also the ones that actually use the mobile phones more. And finally, the effects of mobile phones on students' memory retention, because this is a main factor on students' overall academic performance. Okay, so this is some of the recommendation. Okay, so in brief, under chapter 5 conclusion, it's a short chapter only 1.5 pages to 2 pages long. That's all. Okay, so there should be 3 sections. The first one is summary, second one is limitations, and the third one is the recommendation. Okay, just so the summary, you state the overview of the research again. What are the research questions? What did you use to answer this research question? So it's a survey questionnaire. Okay, limitations. What are the limitations, drawbacks, shortcomings, and weaknesses of your research paper? And finally, recommendation, try to solve the problems that you have stated in under limitations. What are some of the solutions you can propose to solve the weaknesses that you have stated in your limitation? Okay, and that's all. This is your chapter 5 conclusion. Okay.